Hey wild-hearted beings, my name is Sally Carmichael and I help wild-hearted, sensitive, neurodivergent people like you connect with your spirituality in your way. Welcome. Today I want to talk about the topic of spirituality and what it means. At the end of this video, let's do a little practice together. What do you think? I just want you to know that during this recording, I'm going to be talking about death and dying. And if that's uncomfortable for you, well, you know it's in there. Here's the thing, right? We live in a philosophical soup that we don't always think about. We don't always think about. And so we have all these concepts like spirituality, spirit, God, soul, and mind, a body. There's all these concepts, right? I think one of the things that bugs me is that when people talk about spirituality, I hear people talking about spirituality, not to put people in boxes, but I hear this conversation, it's like, I don't believe in God, but I'm agnostic, or I don't believe in God, I'm atheist. Or I just think there's a lot of baggage around these words, right? And there's a lot of implied ideas in them and implied beliefs. It's like if I say I'm spiritual to somebody, does that mean I believe in God or a soul? It doesn't have to. That's the thing. Or if I don't believe in a God figure, does that mean like I'm agnostic or atheist? Like, to me, like, this is too constraining, and it's just like layers that they're just not necessary, I don't think. I think, this is what I think, right? With spirituality, I think what that means to me is we see that life is mysterious, existence is mysterious, and we're part of that mystery. We don't know. We might have some ideas or a firm idea or a firm knowing. I'm not going to speak for you. But look, let's just say we might not know what is going to happen to us when we die. We might not have answers to these things. And so, and like, the universe is fucking amazing, right? It's amazing. And one of the ways that we can explore the universe and our part in it is through science, right? But science is one way of exploring the universe. And to me, spirituality is another way of exploring the universe. And that's what I want from it, actually, is I want to understand and explore who I am. Actually, for me, the exploring is actually probably the biggest part. Just exploring my inner world and opening up to like awareness that I didn't even know was there. Discovering things about myself, like freeing myself, freeing this wild heart. That's what spirituality is for me. It's really about freeing myself. And the thing is, I don't have to have a belief in God to do that. In fact, I think like it's been good for me to let go of the idea of God. You know, what we're really doing in spirituality is leaning into existential questions. You know, there's a saying that meditation is preparation for death. And yeah, for me, actually, there is an aspect of that because I want to be prepared to die. I want to like live this life and be prepared as much as I can be to die. I feel a lot more prepared than I would have 5 years ago, having done like over 2,000 hours of meditation and different practices. but I can't say for sure what it'll be like when my time comes. So, okay, so I think for me, spirituality is really about exploring who I am and finding out what I can do. What's possible for me? What is possible within this being that I am? And I think that that comes from like the fact that in our world, we don't, in the modern world, we don't really explore that inner world, right? We don't really like talk about using our mind intentionally. It kind of drives me a little nuts, actually, knowing that we can do so much, and it's almost impossible to talk about that with, like, generally, even though it would help everybody to know what is possible within our own being by unlocking what we have. We just don't talk about it, and it's the cause of so much suffering, I think. When I was younger, I was raised in a Catholic environment, and so I used to believe in God in the Catholic sense, and I was really caught up in that. I got to like my early 20s, and what really helped me was like atheism. I didn't become an atheist in my early 20s, but I read like a Richard Dawkins book, The God Delusion, actually, and it really helped me strip back a lot of stuff that I'd picked up by being like immersed in Catholicism from a child. I was really grateful for that, actually. Yeah, that was really important for me. I was still like on a spiritual path or exploring things spiritually, but that atheism actually like helped me develop my intellect and question things a lot. And I think that was really good for me. Really got me that, and going to study to do my master's in engineering. That really, that helped me develop my critical thinking. And it really helped me strip back a lot. But I was still spiritual at heart. And that spirituality did come to the fore for me. And it was really important for me to find my meaning in my life and connect with my meaning. But I did practice spirituality without having to latch onto an idea of God or even a soul. I remember hearing some people talking about Reiki once, and one person was like, this all works for me, the Reiki and practice and everything. I just don't believe in a soul. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, actually. Hey, wild-hearted beings. I just wanted to say thank you so much for all the comments and feedback over the last week since the video about feeling alone in our spiritual experience. And just the feedback is just, it's really appreciated. So thanks very much. And thanks for all the subscribes. It's really cool. Every subscription is like, it's a little buzz, gives me a little buzz. So cool. Glad you're here. Thanks. A really a topic that's really important, I think, in how we do our spirituality is that the modern world is very much in the mind, right? And these ideas, this talking about God and soul and spirituality and spirit and atheism, all of that is in the mind. That's not to say it's not important, but what is really important is, to me, is the practice of our spirituality. Because we can philosophize and we can talk and talk and talk about spirituality and what it means and what does God mean and all of that. But in spirituality, this is what I think about spirituality, is what we want is direct experience. And you cannot get that from intellectualizing. You can only get it through practice. So, or through luck, through living, experiencing existence. So, so where did we get to? So for me, spirituality is about exploring this mystery. And it's also about my direct experience or relationship with this mystery and with these experiences that I can experience in my existence that are profound, profound experiences. Spirituality can mean a lot to a lot of people, right? I'd love to know what you think. But here's another aspect of spirituality that I want to talk about, and that is this. Our existence, this existence, it's a miracle. It's really beautiful. I know it's like there's a lot of bad stuff that happens and that has happened. But this existence is it's so beautiful. And so for me, I guess spirituality has meant coming to do a daily meditation practice and showing up for myself. Careful to say that because I don't want it to sound like, oh, people that don't meditate daily aren't showing up for themselves. This has just been my journey, right? I'm not saying it is or isn't anything for anyone else. This has been my journey. It's been important for me to show up for myself in meditation each day. I think that's how things started. And through that, to grow what it really has become is this is making me really emotional, but I just every day I want to try and feel into how beautiful and amazing this all is, and to open up to my heart and move out of the self and mind and into my whole self. And I want to have reverence for this day. I don't want to just have reverence for existence because, by going into nature or because something profound happened. I want to feel that and show up with that as much as I can. I'm not always good at it because this moment is so precious, and by coming into this beautiful space that we're always in and never can disconnect it from, coming back into that space and letting go, it's renewing. It's the power of life to renew itself despite everything that's happened, all of the suffering, all of the turmoil, the being broken by life. By coming back to this beautiful space and presence, life is new. I don't just mean in a nice kind of, like Hallmark card kind of description. I mean it's new. Like our life renews. We are in this this regrowth. We grow and we regrow, and things are new again. In my life as a being, I come into this life, but there's been countless lives before me. But I am life living itself in this life, and it's new. And I get to, as life, as part of this miraculous web of intelligence, I'm able to re-experience the wonder of this life. And I want to do that because it's really nice. So spirituality, for me, is really, it's really simple, right? Isn't it? It's coming back each day in whatever way I can that day, whatever way I can manage. Hopefully I could do an hour of practice. I recognize that I'm privileged to be able to do that too, because not everybody can devote that much time for whatever reason. So here's another point I want to touch on. I hope you're still with me, because this is like the longest video I've done, and I tried to make smaller videos because I noticed that my videos were a bit boring. So I hope this hasn't been boring. I'm trying to be as real as I can. Okay, here's what I want to touch on, because I always want to talk about the social context for things. Because to me, like, spirituality is actually, it's about my practice, and ultimately it's about the world. Like, obviously not the whole world, because I'm not that great. But like, it's just that I, as a being, I am intimately part of this universe and this world. And I care about things in the world, like peace. And I really care about peace. But I really don't like the kind of way that we talk about peace, and like, oh, peace, and imagine peace, and peace on earth. And it's really impractical. It's so impractical. I get it. Like, it's like we wish for peace. And in that is a beautiful thing, actually, because we do wish for peace. We do wish for well-being for each other, for all beings. But to me, it's really impractical as well. It frustrates me because it's like, fuck. But what about this? Like, what about when we're driving down the freeway and we're getting pissed off? You know, how do we make peace then? Because to me, like the opposite to peace, it just comes about, right? It comes about because of circumstance and everything that's happening. And if we can't make peace on a small scale in our everyday our own life, how can we ever make peace in the world? So I'm getting really passionate. But it is that thing, like, if you want to help the world, well, and the world peace and all the world, you start with you. Am I a peaceful person? Am I able to make peace? Here's an example with me. When I'm like, my spoons are low, how can I like interact with the world in a way that doesn't make people feel like shit? Because sometimes I'm a shit. I am a shit. And so how can I build peace when I'm a shit? And one day I made somebody like feel uncomfortable or shitty because I'm feeling shitty. That's not good. So I'm trying to work with that. Spirituality is really about like, this is our life right now, and how do I make some good shit out of this? How do I really live this shit so it is authentically peace? I can't even make the words. I just you know what I mean though. I want it to be real. Like, I don't want to lie to myself and say, oh, peace, 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 when it's hard. So to me, that's what spirituality is about. It's grappling, another thing that spirituality is about. It's grappling with that, like, how do we practically live this shit in our life? And, you know, that's what I love about Zen Buddhism, and, you know, and the system of Reiki, actually. The system of Reiki is actually, that in its Japanese roots, is very much about that grappling with how do we live our spirituality. That's why I love it so much. I'm going to talk about it in other videos. But there are so many ways to practice spirituality, like I always say. And, like, yeah, to me, I think it's important we come to our own idea of what spirituality means. And that I do think it's important that we start to unpack some of these ideas that can hold us back. That can hold us back. We don't have to label ourselves an agnostic or anything like that. Just fuck all that and just practice. That's what I think. Spirituality to me is the practice. It's practicing our what's in our heart to do. That is our spiritual need in the world. And the final point I wanted to get to that I was starting to move toward is this. We don't need a label spiritual. In many cultures, you won't need a label for spirituality because that awareness of the meaning in life and that feeling of profoundness of God, if we want to use that label, which I'm comfortable with now, or goddess, that feeling of direct experience with that is known, and it's known in that culture, right? It's part of the culture. So we only have the word spiritual because we live in a I'm speaking myself, we live in this modern world, in the Western world. We put shit in boxes. There's spiritual stuff and sciencey stuff and this stuff. Oh, fuck all that, right? Because I think it's important that we see the spiritual in the everyday, right? I'm sure you feel this too. It's not enough to just sit on the meditation cushion or whatever the practice is and feel it there. We have to see it in our life and see the patterns and see the preciousness, even in the difficult situations with where I am, with my family or friends or whatever, or in public or whatever. We want to grow to see that there's not a spiritual bucket or a spiritual arena. This is it. This is the spiritual experience, right? That's where we want to get to, I think, or that's where I want to get. That's what spirituality means to me, is this. This is our spiritual experience right here. Whew. Now, as you know, there's an upcoming podcast experiment that I have coming. 5 interviews with wild-hearted, sensitive, neurodivergent people. And I think coming to one last point, again, is just to bring it home. I think what is really important to me in spirituality and the idea of the spiritual is that inspiration. It's the inspiration that we have to follow a practice, to be drawn to a practice. It's not just, I should meditate or I should sit on I should do that meditation, or I should do yoga, or I should do these things that other people do because they're good for me. It's this inspiration. That's what we feel, an inspiration to live a different way, in a way that honors our existence and our mystery, our creativity. It might be through art. It might be through communal art. It might be through bowing to the universe, lighting a candle, whatever these ways are, this inspiration. I've got an excerpt from one of the interviews that's coming up in this podcast series. It's dropping on August 1st. And this is with Carrie Varela, who is one of my teachers. I love Carrie. And she talks about her inspiration. How did this come about? How did you come into yoga, actually?
Yeah, I started yoga when I was 16. My mom loved yoga, and she was encouraging me to do some yoga classes, and we still do yoga together, which is really special. And yeah, when I saw this teacher was in a wide leg forward fold and demonstrated how he could touch his head to the floor. And I was moved. There's something in me that just fluttered, and I fell in love with yoga then and there. And I look back, the thing that's helped me understand what happened in that moment has been some of Thich Nhat Hanh's work. And he talked about how when he first saw a picture of the Buddha, he had that kind of similar flutter. And in that moment, he knew he wanted to be a monk. And, he calls that the beginner's mind. And yeah, I think that's something of what happened in that moment was just a knowing that yoga was going to be a part of my life and that I wanted it to be, that it was going to be, um, that I needed to be a yogi.
Yeah.
It was just non-negotiable. I needed to do that.
What did you think of that? I love that. I love that. And I would love to hear your inspirations because it's so meaningful to me. I love to hear it. I love it. It means so much. And your ideas about spirituality, what that means, and your journey, because I think it's really important that we talk about this in our world. It's really important. It's important for the big picture because we need this. We're starving for this. We're feeling alone. We're feeling isolated. The world doesn't recognize wild-hearted, sensitive, neurodivergent people. I was only beginning to. And what we have to give, our awareness. So it's important, I think, that we come together and we practice our spirituality and we help teach and show in our way, what our life can look like and what spirituality can look like. Thanks for coming along. If you're still here, I hope you're still here. And I want you to remember that the world does need the gifts of your wild heart. It really does. It really does. Thanks for being here. See ya. Hey, wild-hearted being. How about we do a little practice together? We can just sit together for a few minutes maybe and just experience our stillness or whatever's there and see how we feel. So if you want to do this practice with me, first of all, I like that it's in the kitchen because to me spirituality is very practical. It's very much just part of who we are. So being in the kitchen's kind of nice, I think. You don't have to do it in the kitchen, but find a comfortable place. You could be on a couch, on your meditation cushion, on a chair, a nice spot in the garden. I invite you to do that. And when you've found that spot, I invite you to find your quiet, find your space like you know how to do. If you're not sure, let's do it together. So the first thing we'll do is just start to come into our body. So we'll just start by noticing the breath. Noticing the breath coming in and out. The body. Just getting comfortable. Being well supported in the practice. Using any cushions that you need to. Maybe pausing the video now if you want to, just to get some cushions or whatever you need to feel supported. And then just coming back into the body, noticing the pressure of the legs on the chair or on the cushion, the weight of the body in space, the arms, letting go of any shoulder tension that you can, as much as you can. You might want to roll the shoulders back if that's possible for you, just to open up the chest a little. And just feeling into the feet. Feeling the feet and the toes if you can. And as you go, just letting go of any tension in the legs and the feet. Letting go of any tension in the arms and the hands and fingers. letting go of any tension in the forehead, the temples, the scalp. As much as you can let go of. But don't get stressed about letting go of tension. And again, just noticing the breath. Noticing where the breath is. Is the breath in the belly? Is it more in the chest? Wherever it is okay. But we would like to shift the breath as much as we can into the abdomen. And if we can, it's good to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, if that's possible. And let's just take a nice deep breath. So let's just breathe in nice and deep, as deep as you can. And just sigh the breath out. Just letting go of any tension that you can. We'll do a few more of these, 2 or 3 more, just in your own time. So breathing in and just making some kind of audible sound, like a sigh or horse lips or something like that, whatever feels good. Making some sounds. If you find any sensory difficulty and it feels too overwhelming, then please stop whenever you feel comfortable, whenever you feel like you need to. So we're going to sit in silence together. And the mind wanders, it will wander, which you would know based on your own practice. So if the mind wanders, it's okay. We're just, the most important thing is that we notice that the mind has wandered. And when we notice the mind has wandered, we bring it back to our focus. And our focus will just be on the breath. And I'm going to bring in an energetic experience. So you can be open to that experience or not. Entirely up to you. If you don't want to be part of that, you don't have to. If you want to, you can. If you want to, you could open yourself up to just receiving whatever it is you need to receive for your own body-mind intelligence at this time. And our body-mind does know what we need. So just setting the intention that you'll receive whatever it is you need to receive. And then just focusing on the breath, in and out. Although my hands are in the prayer position, to me this is a position like an energetic mudra. It's a way of focusing my attention and a way of representing non-duality. So we'll sit in this space for another minute. Just focusing on the breath. Many times as we need to, just bringing the awareness back to focus on the breath coming in and out. And whenever you're ready, just coming back to the room. I hope that was nice for you, or whatever it is that you needed. If you had any thoughts on that brief practice, it's a very simple practice. Feel free to share them. And we'll try and do some longer practices so it's not all talk. Okay, thank you. See you later. Bye.